Hi everyone, I'm glad to see you. I'm your host Peter, and this is my own Peter's English podcast. Hi everyone, welcome. And I'm going to read you my slogan, my jingle. Learn English, be successful, change your life, open. Let's try again. Learn English, be successful, change your life, open a lot of doors, create your own podcast, write your own novel. You don't need to be talented because learning English is for everyone. Okay, people, my jingle is told and we can start. This is people my peep 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 picture in picture mode episode, and in this picture in picture mode episode I want to chat with the study and learn mode of Microsoft Copilot, and Copilot can teach me would, yes people, would in 3 points about 3 different uses, yes. And we can start. I don't know if the word uses is okay, but we can start. uh, let's not care about it, Peter. Okay, we can start. Wait a minute. Okay, action. This is people action for Copello. He can go. Okay, we are installing our mode. 5. Action. And we're rolling, Peter. Since we're in study mode, I won't drop the whole 30-minute lecture at once. I'll guide you step by step with questions, hints, and little discoveries so you build the understanding. We'll go slowly, one idea at a time, like a real lesson. Let's begin with the first use of wood. Wood for past habits. We'll move to politeness and storytelling later, after you respond. Key idea, but only one for now. We use would to talk about things we did many times in the past. Repeated actions. Example: when I was a kite, a kite. When I was a kid, I would watch cartoons every morning. But before we go deeper, I want to check something with you. Question 1. When you were younger, maybe a teenager, what is one thing you did regularly or repeatedly? For example, a hobby, routine, something funny, something you always did after school. Tell me one repeated action from your past and we'll turn it into a word sentence together. I played computer games. Let's say. Okay, it's true, really. Don't believe me, but it's true. Okay, we can continue. 5. I played computer games. Great, Peter. That's exactly what I needed. Now let's turn your idea into a good sentence together. You said I played computer games. That's a simple past sentence. But now we want to express it was a habit, you did it regularly, it happened many times. So here's the next step. Try this pattern. When I was younger, I would. Now you complete it using your idea. Your turn. How would you say it using would? Just one sentence. When I was younger, I would play games. Okay, we have to wait. F5. Play games. Perfect, Peter. You've got the idea. Now let's shape into a full natural wood sentence. Right now you have. When I was younger, I would play games. That's exactly the structure we want. Before we move on, let me help you polish it just a tiny bit so it sounds smooth and native. Not naive, native. When I was younger, I would play computer games. Nice, clean, natural English. Now, before we continue to the next idea, I want to check one small thing. This is how study mode works. Question. When you say play computer games, do you mean you did it every day or very often or just regularly? I did it regularly. Okay, we have to wait. 5. I did it regularly. Perfect, Peter. That's exactly the situation where would is the right tool. You said you played computer games regularly, so your sentence, when I was younger, I would play computer games, is exactly how native speakers describe a past habit. Now let's go one small step deeper. Still in study mode, still still one idea at a time. Key idea 2, still in past habits. When we use would for past habits, we usually add extra details to make the habit feel more alive. For example, when I was younger, I would play computer games every evening. When I was younger, I would play computer games after school or for hours. Adding a detail makes the sentence stronger and more natural. Your turn. Can you add one small detail to your sentence? Something like when, how often, where, with whom. Just choose one detail and add it to when I was younger. I would play computer games every night. Okay, let's say. Okay, we have to wait. Now, with people you can see that I'm tired, but I try to manage. Don't worry, I won't. I don't want. No, I don't want to escape. Every night. Nice, Peter. That's exactly the kind of detail that makes a wood sentence feel real and natural. Let's put it all together. When I was younger, I would play computer games every night. Perfect, clear, native sounding. Exactly how English speakers describe past habits. But we move to the next part of the lesson. I want to help you feel the difference. Tiny reflection. One idea only. When you say, I played computer games every night, this is just a fact. But when you say, I would play computer games every night, this feels like a memory, a habit, a routine, something that happened again and again. It's more emotional, more storytelling, and more alive. When you played every night, did you usually play alone or with friends? Alone, of course. To wait. 5. Alone. Nice. That gives us the perfect next step, Peter. Since you played alone, we can make your would sentence even more natural and expressive. But remember, we're in study mode, so we go one idea at a time and you build the understanding. Yes, nothing boring, we hope so. New idea still in past habits. When you add a detail like alone, it makes the habit feel more personal and more emotional. Perfect for storytelling. So now your sentence becomes, when I was younger, I would play computer games every night alone. But in natural English, we usually move alone earlier in the sentence. So a smoother version is, when I was younger, I would play computer games alone every night. This sounds more natural and more native. Your turn. Try to say the full sentence in your own words. When I was younger, I would play computer games alone every night. Write it once so I can see how you feel with the structure. Aha. Oh, over words. Okay. Little boy. I would play computer games alone every night. We have to wait. And we have to wait. Little problem with whom? Aha, with copilot. Yes, of course. I'm a little tired, but don't worry, people. I try to manage it. And copilot is tired too. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. But it has to work. Okay. And we can continue to wait. F5. When I was a little boy, I would play computer games alone every night. Peter, that sentence is excellent, natural, emotional, and perfectly structured for the past habits meaning of wood. Let's look at it together, one study mode step at a time. Your sentence: when I was a little boy, I would play computer games alone every night. This is exactly how native speakers describe a repeated past habits. You used when I was a little boy, time reference, I would play repeated habit, computer games activity, alone every night, details that make the memory vivid. Beautiful work. One small reflection, study mode style. When you say, I would play computer games alone every night, it feels like a memory, not just a fact. It has emotion, routine, atmosphere, perfect for storytelling. Now that you've mastered the first use of wood, we can move to the next one. But before we continue, I want to check your understanding with a tiny question. Do you feel the difference between I played computer games every night and I would play computer games every night? What's the difference in feeling or meaning for you? Oh, that's easy. Hmm, I would play talks about habits. Okay, F5. I would play talks about habits. Exactly, Peter beautifully said. And now that you've identified the key meaning, we can build the next layer of understanding. But remember, we're in study mode, so we go step by step, one idea at a time, and you help build the meaning. You said, I would play talks about habits. That's correct, and here is the next small idea to add. Would past habits that happened many times but not permanent facts. For example, when I was younger, I would play computer games every night, repeated habit. But we don't use would for facts, states, things that were always true. Only actions that repeated. Tiny check, one question only. Which of these sentences can use would? When I was a child, I lived in Slovakia. When I was a child, I played football every weekend. Mm-hmm. B. Okay. 5. B. Exactly, Peter. B is correct. And your choice shows you really understand how wood works for past habits. Let's look at it together, one study mode step at a time. Why B works. When I was a child, I played football every weekend. This describes a repeated action, something you did again and again. Repeated actions in the past would is possible, so we can say, when I was a child, I would play football every weekend. Perfect. Why A does not work. When I was a child, I lived in Slovakia. This is a state, not a repeated action. You didn't live again and again. It was one continuous situation. States no would. You've mastered the first use of would. Now we can move to the next part, wood for politeness. But before we continue, I want to check one tiny thing. This helps me guide the next step. Quick question. When you hear a sentence like, would you like a coffee? What feeling do you get? Polite, formal, friendly, soft, something else? For polite. You have to wait. F5. Polite. Exactly, Peter. Polite is the perfect word for it. And now that you've identified the feeling, we can build the next layer of understanding. Wait a minute. Remember, we're in study mode, so we go slowly, one idea at a time, and you help build the meaning. Wood for politeness. Just one idea now. We'll expand step by step. Key idea. Wood makes a request or offer softer and more polite. Compare. Do you want coffee? Direct. Would you like coffee? Polite, gentle, friendly. You already feel this difference. That's great. Now let's build the next step. Tiny example, just one. Would you like a smoothie? Polite offer. Now I want to check your intuition. Your turn. Imagine you're offering someone a drink on your live stream. How would you say it politely using would? Just one sentence. Would you like to drink coffee? A cup of coffee? Now we have to wait. F5. Would you like to drink a cup of coffee? Peter, that's a perfect polite sentence. And now we'll shape it step by step so you understand why it works. We stay in study mode, so I'll guide you slowly, one idea at a time. Your sentence, would you like to drink a cup of coffee? This is grammatically correct, but native speakers usually make it shorter and smoother. Here's the key idea for this step. In polite offers, English usually removes to drink. Oh, that's interesting. Because the listener already understands the action, so instead of would you like to drink a cup of coffee, we normally say would you like a cup of coffee? Shorter, more natural, still polite. Tiny question for you, study mode. Why do you think English speakers prefer the shorter version? Because it's faster, because it sounds more natural, because drink is unnecessary, because it's more natural. Okay, we have to wait for the answer. F5. Because it's more natural. Exactly, Peter. More natural is the perfect answer. And now we can build the next layer of understanding one small step at a time, just like study mode wants. Why the shorter version feels more natural? Here's the next tiny idea, only one. English removes unnecessary actions when the meaning is obvious. When you say, would you like a cup of coffee? Everyone already understands that the action is drinking. So English doesn't need to say to drink. It keeps the sentence smooth, polite, simple, natural. You understood this that instinctively. Instinctively. That's great. Tiny practice, your turn. Let's try one more polite offer. Imagine you're offering someone tea this time. Try to make a natural polite sentence using would. Just one sentence. Uh, a cup of tea. We have to wait. And it has problems again. We have to wait. Okay. Now, here is the answer after big problems of Copilot. Would you like a cup of tea? Beautiful, Peter. That sentence is exactly how a native speaker would offer tea politely. Let's look at it together one study mode step at a time. Your sentence, would you like a cup of tea? This is polite, natural, simple, perfectly structured. You've mastered the basic polite offer with would. Now we gently build the next layer. Still one idea at a time. New tiny idea, just one. Wood makes the offer polite, but a cup of coffee makes it specific. If you want to make it even softer or more flexible, English sometimes uses would you like some tea? This version is softer, more general, used when the exact amount doesn't matter. Both are correct, they just feel slightly different. The tiny question for you, study mode. Which version feels nicer to you? Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like some tea? Some tea. Okay, F5. Some tea. Excellent choice, Peter. Some tea is the version most native speakers use in everyday polite conversation. And now we can build the next layer, one small step at a time, just like study mode wants. Why some tea feels nicer? Here's the next tiny idea, only one. Some makes the offer softer and more flexible. It doesn't specify the amount. It feels warm, friendly, natural. A cup of tea, specific one cup. Some tea, general, soft, polite, open-ended. You pick the version that sounds the most natural in real conversation. Great instinct. Tiny practice, your turn. Let's try a different polite offer using some. Imagine you're offering someone water during your live stream. Try to make a polite sentence. Would you like some? Would you like some alcohol? Okay. F5. Would you like some alcohol? Peter, that sentence is perfectly structured and perfectly chaotic. A classic combination in your style. And now, because we're in study mode, let's slow down and look at what you just did. Your sentence, would you like some alcohol? Grammatically correct, polite, natural, smooth, exactly how a native speaker would say it, even jokingly. You used would you like, polite offer, some alcohol, soft, general, natural phrasing. Beautiful. Now let's build the next layer, one idea only. Would, new tiny idea. Would plus like is the most common polite structure for offering things. But there's another polite structure. Would you like to? This is used for actions, not objects. Examples. Would you like to sit down? Would you like to join us? Would you like to try this? Or, so, would you like some alcohol offering a thing? Would you like to drink some alcohol offering an action? Both are correct, but they feel slightly different. Tiny question for you. If you want to offer someone the action of drinking together, which version would you choose? Would you like some alcohol? Would you like to drink some alcohol? B, of course. I have to watch, but I did it. It's a little cheating, but who cares? It doesn't matter. Oh, I've been streaming for 25 minutes now. Here is the F5. B. Exactly, Peter. B is the correct choice. And now we can build the next layer of understanding. One small step, not small, one small step at a time, just like study mode wants. Why B is correct? You choose. Would you like to drink some alcohol? And that's perfect because would you like to offering means offering an action. To drink, to sit, to join, to try, to come, to watch. So when you want to invite someone to do something with you, you use would you like to plus action. You understood that immediately. Great instinct. Quick comparison, one idea only. Would you like some alcohol? Offering the thing. Would you like to drink some alcohol? Offering the action. You picked the action version exactly right. Tiny practice, your turn. Let's try one more action offer. Imagine you're inviting someone to join your live stream. How would you say it politely using would you like to? Would you like to be my guest in my podcast? Okay, we have to wait. Would you like to be my guest in my podcast? Peter, that sentence is excellent and now we'll shape it gently, one study mode step at a time. Your sentence. Would you like to be my guest in my podcast? Great structure, polite, clear, natural. Now here's the one small idea for this step. It's bad. In English, we usually say on my podcast, not in my podcast. Oh, it doesn't matter. So the most natural version is, would you like to be my guest on my podcast? Okay, that's the only adjustment. Can you rewrite your sentence with on instead of in? No. Uh, Mark. That's it for all for today. Create a 500 word funny story inspired by my novel Viera Leprechaun Diary. Use a lot of funny, wild dialogues. Add Mr. Flap Flap again. Don't use my personal life or my job. Use today's English grammar. And we have to wait for the story, and I want to read you. And Bob your uncle, and we can end this live stream because I have enough for today. But we have to wait. Here is F5. Perfect. The whole story is here. Okay, I'm going to read you. Now, people, this story was inspired by my novel Viera Leprechaun Diary. It's AI generated story by Microsoft Copilot. Let's to read it. No, that's it for today. Create a 500 word funny story inspired by my novel Viera Leprechaun Diary. Use a lot of funny dialogues. Add Mr. Flap Flap. Don't use my personal life or my job. Use today's English grammar. Absolutely, Peter. Buckle up. Here comes a 500 words chaotic, funny dialogue heavy story inspired by Viera Leprechaun's Diary, featuring Mr. Flap Flap, today's English grammar, and zero references to your personal life or job. Let's start. Viera the Vampire Girl and the Night of the Flapocalypse, a 500 word comedic mini story. Viera the Vampire Girl opened her diary and sighed dramatically. Dear diary, she whispered, tonight I will finally behave like a normal, elegant, vampire lady. A voice exploded from the ceiling. No, you won't. Viera looked up. Mr. Flap-Flap, why are you upside down again? Mr. Flap-Flap, a bat with the emotional stability of a blender, flapped violently because gravity is a suggestion, Viera, a suggestion. Viera rolled her eyes. You're going to fall. I never fall. He fell straight into her hair. Ah, my face is in your fringe. Help! He screamed, kicking his tiny legs. Viera peeled him off like a sticker. Calm down. I'm trying to write something serious. Oh, serious? Mr. Flap-Flap gasped. Should I bring candles? A dramatic cloak? A fog machine? No fog machines, Viera said. Last time you filled the whole castle and the skeletons panicked. That skeleton tripped over his own femur. That wasn't my fault. Viera dipped her quill. Anyway, tonight I want to practice being polite. You know, using wood. Mr. Flap-Flap rose. Polite? You? Ha! That's adorable. I can't be polite, Viera insisted. Watch! She cleared her throat and knocked on the coffee next to hers. Would you like to wake up now? She asked sweetly. The coffin lid opened. A grumpy vampire elder stared at her. No, he said, and closed the lid again. Mr. Flap-Flap burst out laughing. Try again. Viera stomped into the hallway. Fine, I'll practice on the ghost. A transparent ghost floated by humming. Viera smiled politely. Excuse me, would you like some tea? The ghost blinked. I'm dead. It's ghosty. Is it hot? It's emotionally warm. The ghost nodded. All right then. Mr. Flap-Flap clapped his wings. You're doing great. Now offer something dangerous. No, Viera said. Come on, just a little danger. A tiny bit. A sprinkle. Viera sighed. Fine. She approached a werewolf polishing his clothes. Would you like to join me for a midnight walk? The werewolf gasped. A date? No! Viera shouted. A walk! Mr. Flap-Flap whispered loudly. She's blushing. I am not. The werewolf wagged his tail. I'll bring snacks. No snacks, Viera yelled. Last time you brought a whole goat. It was already screaming when I found it. Viera face palmed. This is why I don't socialize. Mr. Flap-Flap landed on her shoulder. Viera, you're doing great. You use wood politely. You didn't set anything on fire and nobody cried. The ghost floated by. Actually, I cried a little. That doesn't count, Mr. Flap-Flap said. You're 80% water. Viera closed her diary. Dear diary, she wrote. Tonight I learned something important. Being polite is hard. Being a vampire is harder, but surviving Mr. Flap-Flap, that's the real challenge. Mr. Flap-Flap saluted. You're welcome. Okay, people, that's it. I've been streaming for 43 minutes and my eyes are closed. And I'm very tired. It was a very hard week for me. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please follow me everywhere. Write positive comments. And I want to tell you bye-bye.